Hey, what's up? It's Tiffany. Before we get started on this week's episode, please be sure to send us your requests at BOOshakalaka@gmail.com. You can find us on Twitter X, BOOshakalaka You can also find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Instagram at BOOshakalaka Podcast. I'm your host, Tiffany, joined by co-host Pierre.
We're live for Black TV. White folks today, we're getting the fuck out of here. Let's roll it.
Get your shit, let's go. Did you hear me, motherfucker?
Okay.
Oh yeah, we're so excited, guys. I'm pretty sure you've seen that the Wayans brothers are back in talks for Scary Movie 6. I think they have signed on. It should be coming out 2025, 2026. I hope it's amazing, and I hope that we get Cindy, Brenda, Shorty, Ray, who else? I think those are the 4 recurring characters. We hope we get all of them back.
Yeah.
So I would love to see them. As for this week, I haven't really watched anything new except for Totally Killer, which is what we're reviewing today. How about you?
Honestly, no. I think the last episode of Penguin is tonight, because we're recording this Sunday night. So that's about it, guys. Aaron Hernandez is about to be over. All the shows I was watching weekly are ending. Grotesquerie. So yeah.
The election. Yeah, it was a week, y'all. It was a week. We're recovering, and people are in their F around and find out season. So
let's F around and find out with this podcast.
So hit it up with the RuPaul when she puts the little glasses on. I can't wait to see what happens. Because that's all we can do at this point. That's all you can do. Look at it. Yeah. Look at it. It's all you can do.
I hate you.
But what we looked at was Totally Killer, which came out in 2023. The synopsis for this is 35 years after the shocking murders of 3 teens, an infamous killer returns on Halloween night to claim a 4th victim. When 17-year-old Jamie comes face to face with the maniac, she accidentally time travels back to 1987. Forced to navigate the unfamiliar culture, Jamie teams up with her teenage mother to take down the psycho once and for all.
Okay, chill synopsis. Oh my God.
Here's the whole movie. You don't even need to watch it.
Right. Ready?
It was very thorough. It's kind of like how the trailers of today are.
Yeah. So we start this movie off immediately knowing that it's going to be better than Time Cut. So we start off with a very, I don't want to call her grungy. I'll say punk girl. And she's like getting ready. You want to call her punk?
Say that.
I don't know what you would call this kind of girl. I don't know. Sabrina the Teenage Witch. So she
meow 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 around the house. Regular.
So she's getting ready to go to this concert on Halloween, and her mom comes in and she's super concerned, super protective. And basically we open the film knowing that in this town 35 years ago, a serial killer killed 3 girls. And he would stab them 16 times, and he killed the first girl on her sweet 16 birthday at her birthday party. And so that is the lore of the town. So now there's this old guy. He has a podcast, and he goes around. He does the tours as if it was like, what do they do? Do they do not in Athens, but it's like there's somewhere in Georgia where they do those little tours, those not limousine hearse tours. It's kind of like that. Only they walk around.
Leprechaun 2, Cody and
yes,
Morty.
Oh, why did you bring it up? Why did you bring up the movie? It's a anywho. You just ruined everything. I hate him. So yeah, that's the lore of the town, and that's just kind of like the thing. I was really mad when I saw the burger place that he was like got converted from the house, and then I saw the house, and I'm like, this is not the same property. There's no way this is the same property. Like they would have to. I mean, I guess you can.
They thought you wouldn't notice, but you're a super sleuth. You're a super sleuth.
Okay.
We meet her parents, Pam and I can't remember the dad's name. Brent. What was his name? What was his name?
Ma'am.
Tucked in or out? What was the dad's name? Blake.
Okay.
Blake. Sorry. Yes. So we meet her parents. They seem like okay parents, but the mom is just very concerned for her daughter because she's 16. It's around Halloween time, and of course this is when her friends were murdered. So she's like, I really don't want you to go out, and the daughter is just being a biatch. She's like, Mom, I can't believe you're like try to keep me in the house for something that happened 35 years ago. And the mom's like, okay, well, your dad's going to the concert with you. He's going to drive you there. He's going to park there, and he's going to drive you home because they all want to pay for parking. So I mean, that's pretty much what happens. So they leave, they go pick up her best friend, Amelia, and they head out to the concert. We meet Amelia's mom, Lauren, who seems very like a recluse. She doesn't really seem like she does too much. And
Yeah.
she's like, yeah, I gotta go to work. I don't get to celebrate Halloween. And like she's mad because the dad was off work. I don't like people like that. Like,
Like,
sorry, you picked your profession, baby. You smart. You can do anything.
yeah, I really don't understand. They never really explain how she's unhappy here, but okay.
I guess maybe the baby daddy, look, I don't know, like what's going on. Maybe it isn't
Yeah.
the career she wanted. So
Okay, well, again, we'll get to that. So, back at the house, the mom is giving out candy to the kids, and so the killer who did the killing 35 years ago wore this mask, like this. I don't even know who was that supposed to be, Johnny Bravo. So
hey,
she,
chicken baby.
so, so she gets some kids some candy, and then like she looks around, hears a noise, nothing's there. She only has sweet tarts left. That was enough to be killed anyway. And she
To the
looks
nation.
and she sees the mask, but of course, because the lore, she doesn't think anything of it. So she opens the door, guy pulls out a knife, bam, it's on. This was hilarious. So he think it's gonna be a quick kill, baby. She's turned him into all kinds of jujitsu, and she flips him over and knocks him out. She got guns hidden in like the wall and shit. I was like, oh my god. It just
If she wasn't doing all that talking, I feel like she would have won the fight.
yeah, because she was like, oh, you think I wasn't prepared for this? I've been looking for you for 35 years. But it's like
Mm-mm.
she be having him, but then I think it's just he just overpowers her. He like throws her all on her table, but she got mace hidden under the couch. It was just a
You
lot.
know, hits hurt harder the older we get.
Yeah. But
So
she does.
yeah,
She sets her alarm off, so the police are on their way. But it's just, I mean, alarms are great, but it's like they have to get there, baby, and you have to
she
still,
does all the right things except for running.
yeah.
Because she wanted to kill the killer, but she had like maybe 3 or 4 chances to get out of the house. At least she could just went and just stood in the street
Well,
while the
even
killer
yeah,
was in the
well,
house.
actually, because of the front, he tries to stab her. She flips him. I would have ran out the front door. It was still
Yeah,
open.
I would have been shooting while walking backwards.
Right. She's trying to shoot at point blank range. So she runs to the kitchen. She grabs a knife. She's like, all right, the cops are on the way. Leave. He leaves. He runs to the front door. So she just stands there. This motherfucker comes to the back door. Stab, stab, stab. He threw her off the counter. Stab, stab, stab. Like she really did try her best, but it was actually kind of sad because she was just like screaming. You could tell it was her worst fear to die this way. And then more kids from the neighborhood come in. Oh, she dead's the doornail. It pissed me off
These
how they discovered her, but they didn't leave. Like they didn't leave. They didn't scream. It was just like, let's just keep walking towards this dead body.
Well, it's Halloween. They probably thought it was maybe like a decoration or something.
Oh,
But
kiss
like
my ass.
I put in my notes, he's no longer the sweet 16 killer. He's the sweet 56 killer
I
because I'm
hate you.
sure she was about 56 years old.
So sad shit. So like,
Jamie feels like shit because she basically
yes.
cussed her mom out before she left and went to that concert. But she guess what? She's dead.
And this is why I like this movie. She gave an actual reaction. She was sobbing. She was sad. Like she was just over it. She goes to school the next day. And of course, they pull her out like she's Sydney and Scream, talking about some old Sydney. It would appear to be your turn. And she has to go and talk to, first of all, the principal, the coach, and then the sheriff. 3 idiots. And
Oh,
they pull her to the side, and she's like, the sheriff is trying to question her. She's like, so your mom was texting the guy who created the podcast. I don't know his name. Earl.
Chris Dubasage.
Okay, Chris. And was she having an affair? Is your dad like jealous? And she's like, look, bitch, you haven't been liking my daddy since y'all was kids. Do your fucking job and get out my face. And she calls her daddy. What does she call him? She calls him basically a low life, sorry ass, bitch ass renter cop. I was like, damn. She tore her apart, didn't give a fuck. Like, but again, this is like how reality would work. I'm grieving. I don't have time. And you questioning me about my dad being a suspect. Like, girl, my dad was with me. Like, he had to, it was a bit much to put on her. And the fact that she even went to
Yeah, because
school. I mean, I
it's
guess we don't know.
2023. You can check the cameras,
Yeah,
the light cameras and all that.
I guess we don't know how long
They didn't really tell us. Yeah, they didn't
yeah.
tell us that.
Because if it was
They
the
didn't
next
tell
day,
us.
I'm not going to school. But
I'm
they be
sure she
trying to
didn't go the next.
throw these
I'm
kids in
sure she didn't
school.
go the next day.
And it didn't look like she had any. Well, I know she has one friend, but I'm like nobody was really consoling her. So maybe it had been a while.
Right, right. So bringing up Amelia, she goes to meet Amelia over at the old abandoned fair, and they are having their science fair there because it's
Cheap,
free. Like,
cheap.
what kind of ghetto shit is this?
That is ghetto. As that pissed me
What
off.
happened to having it in the gym?
Yeah, I'm like, why do y'all have to go to a separate location? Like, yeah, just because
And at the raggedy fair, what if it rains and ruins some kid's project? This
it
didn't make much sense to me.
no. And so her friend Amelia is like a super smart nerd. I love that she was a black girl, dark skinned black girl at that. And she is creating a time machine. But she doesn't want anyone to know she's creating a time machine just in case it doesn't work because she doesn't want people to think she's crazy. You know, it made sense while she was talking. And
Well, she was using, and she got the idea to make it from her mom's old notebook that she found when her mom was a teen. So she's like, okay, I basically want to fulfill my mother's dreams because obviously she ain't fucking do
it. So yeah, she's creating the time machine in a photo booth, but it's not working. Something's on the fritz. It's missing something. She can't think of what it is. And
she also admits that, well, they noticed that the date on the time machine is set to 10/27/87, and Jamie asked why, and she was like, well, I figure if we can go back in time, we can stop all of the murders, and then your mom wouldn't have had to die. She really was her friend.
Yeah.
Because I would have been like, girl, I'm going back and I'm about to go sleep with Jeff Bezos.
What the not in slavery, but
I'm about to have it, right?
not in
right. No, I'm about to go the first person to, I'm telling you, if the gun was never created, this world would be a much different place. Whoever created the gun, I'm about to just go and just take all their materials. They're going to come in and be like, hey, what happened? Material's gone, baby. You're never going to see them again. I don't know if I'd even be born, but guess what? You're not creating a gun. Did we see reporter Chris Dubasage? He's coming up to talk to
reporter is a strong word.
Oh, I'm sorry, podcaster. Chris Dubasage, who basically has a true crime podcast that talks about the Sweet 16 killer. It's been 35 years. It's been so long, and it's like, oh, we got more action. Let's move on. That was my first inkling. I always tell you when I have my inklings, that was my first one. And he tells her that Pam received a note from the killer back in the day that she kept, and the note says, "You're next, one day. I know what you did last summer."
Right. And we also need to talk about how Chris is a fucking loser. So his dad is an actual reporter, and he's up for winning the Pulitzer. Like, he's actually covering like a hurricane right now. So he's kind of in his dad's shadow. That's why he's a bigger loser than he should be. So he's over there questioning her. She ain't trying to hear all that shit.
I mean, no, they're done after that. After he gives us the note, they're done. Then we're going back to the carnival. We're going to the carnival, and it happens really fast. I like we get straight to the motion. Don't right.
She has Amelia meet her at the carnival, and she's like, "Hey, I want to go back in time. I need to save my mom. There was this note."
Killer right behind her.
Right, Killer was right.
Finish talking.
Yeah, so Killer starts swinging on her, and he's only chasing her. Like, her friend Amelia is screaming for help, but he not after her. He after the other girl.
Why should he call 911?
Because they have cell phones. See, don't piss me off. So she runs and she
help.
She runs into the photo booth, and she's hiding in there. And the killer, of course, passes it up. This motherfucker hits a button. Why are we hitting buttons inside of the photo booth?
I think she accidentally leaned on
it. We don't have time for accidents.
Right. You need to be.
You should have been lean back. And lean back.
Stiff as a board.
And he hears it. He come in, stab. Like, he don't waste any time trying to kill this girl. But of course, her mom made her take self-defense classes. She gave her pepper spray, a rape alarm. So she's kind of ready for this kind of thing, just like her mom. So she kicks him, she fights him off a little bit. He ends up stabbing the console of the photo booth. And wham, she kicks him out. And it made me mad when she closed the curtain, like, he knows where you are. And so she gets... boom, time travel to the date that her friend put in. And now she's in 1987, not 2003. So there's actual clothing differences.
Oh, but you know what? We get her montage. This is her montage, which is so crazy that both of them had the montage. I mean, I get it, but we get a slamming song. Sorry, Hilary Duff. We get, she's got it. Yeah, baby, she's got it.
I feel like that was not the song that played, but okay.
I wrote it down.
Okay.
I'm your Venus.
Oh, okay. See, that's the problem. I only know the chorus. I don't know the other stuff.
Tighten up. But yeah, the thing that I appreciated, we saw people in like very hip clothing for that time, but we also saw people in a t-shirt and jeans. That's all I want. There has to be some kind of a contrast between them because not everybody is cool at your school. We don't go to the school where Gossip Girl go to. Like we all can't dress in designer clothes every week. I don't know what school they go to. I don't know. New York Prep. I don't know.
Go to
But
hell.
I'm just saying, but you know what I'm saying? Like we all have gone to school before, especially if
Hmm.
you just went to like a regular public school in whatever town. You had
Yeah.
some people that had the designer clothes on, then you had some people that didn't. I just need that diversity in the clothes. That's all I asked for. And they did
Yeah.
it right this time.
Yes, they
So
did. Then, so she's leaving
yes.
the fair. She's like, "Oh, what the hell?" And then she gets stopped by this mom. I don't know. This is the most random character. It's this mom in this tracksuit, and she just a chain smoker. And she's like, "Girl, what?" She's like, "Hey, do you know?" So she asked her about her mom. You know, realizing her mom isn't Pam Hughes
Hmm.
anymore. She's Pam Miller. Do you know where she is? Oh, well, she's probably at school where you should be. And she's just like, "Let me take you to school." And I'm like, and she, I mean, rightfully so. She's like, "Girl, you could be a killer." And she's like, "Girl, what? We ain't got no." I, this was 1987. Was that before the Night Stalker, or was he 19? I feel like he was 1989. I might be wrong.
Well, the big thing about this is the town that they're in, nobody's ever even been murdered in it.
Yeah,
So
it
they're
was
not
just
even thinking
like
about that.
she almost acted like there was
Wasn't the
no
Night Stalker in
never.
LA?
Yeah, but she just acted like it was just no serial killer ever. I don't know. But she gets in the car with
Not
her.
in not in Vernon.
She gets in the car with her. Car would look like Smokey's car, look like Shorty's car, just smoked out. I know that
I was
jacket
thinking
stunk.
I was thinking about Cheryl in that grocery getter.
Same. Uh Girl with the nicotine on the walls. So she brings her to school. And then we just never see that person again. I just thought it was just very random. I guess they just had to get her there, but it's just like
Yeah.
I would have
I
liked to
think
see her
they had to get
again.
her there before school's over because who knows how far that fair was from the school. You know, it could have been on the outskirts. Who knows?
But that's what the
But
science fair is.
this is the she gets in the school, she goes to the guidance counselor. She's like, "Hello, my name is Jamie Dubasan, and I am an exchange student from Canada. I just need to get
Prince
my
Edward Island. Like, girl, what?
I need to get my schedule." And the lady's like, "Here you go." I'm like, "Wait, what?" This must have been when America was great, when nobody gave a fuck about
Yeah.
the safety of children. Because
Yeah. And I think what also made this movie interesting was how she never not comments on the differences. She's like, damn, flying must be crazy during this time. Cause you know,
right,
she always lets us know this is different. And it was just, it wasn't corny, it wasn't trying to be funny. It was like,
yeah,
what the hell? Like, what do you mean? Like, I can just go to class, you don't know who I am, there's no
right.
identification.
The next scene is the only part that kind of I was just like, come on, like,
The fact that she had Jim.
the fact that she had Jim
Hmm.
and the fact that they played dodgeball and she was acting like she had never seen a dodgeball game before in her entire life.
Yeah, now that pissed me off. But then
I was like,
again,
this is stupid. I would have rather they just was running racing on the track, and then
I
she
think the
stopped.
only thing that saves it is because in our time, you could choose your schedule. Like I didn't take PE at all in high school. Like I made sure I'm like, I'm not about to be sweaty and then go to class. So we could make our schedules. So I think that's the only thing that may, I mean, you clearly know what dodgeball is. It's a whole movie about dodgeball that I'm sure she saw. But her act like, so I can just understand her not wanting to be there, but her acting like she had just never heard of dodgeball was weird.
Yeah, like what's going on? I'm like, come on, girl. You know that happened at least sometime. That literally that was the only part of the movie where I was like, this is stupid.
Yeah.
But you know, we gotta fill up that runtime. So she sees Pam and she sees the other three. They're in my notes somewhere down there. I of course know somebody's name is Tiffany because that is my name.
Mm-hmm.
Uh Tiffany
But
Marissa,
Tiffany's the first girl who dies. So
Tiffany, Marissa, Pam, and
Heather.
Heather. There we go. Of
Yeah.
course. Yeah. So she sees them, and they are whooping ass in dodgeball, whooping ass, taking names. And she sees another girl, and she's like, "Well, she talks to her about Pam, and she's like, "Yeah, Pam's a bitch." She's like, "What?
Yeah.
My mother's the nicest person on earth." And the girl that she's talking to was like, "Are you serious? Those are the Mollies. We call them the Mollies because they dress like a
Molly
bunch of
Ringwald.
renditions of Raleigh Ringwald," which is so funny because every movie that Ringwald was in, she was never a bully. She was always the girl next door, right?
And I felt the Breakfast Club, she was mean. but she
But
was,
she was kind of bitchy, but she wasn't like a like these people are downright bullies.
yeah.
I didn't really see that from her, but
Yeah,
whatever.
but while she's questioning about these about her mom pops her in the damn head. She's like, "Get off the court, bitch!" I was
Yeah.
like, it was yeah. It reminded me of Carrie almost. Like, yeah, y'all could curse back in that time.
Very much
And
true.
she pops her a couple times actually, to the point that her nose is bleeding.
Yeah, but I mean
And
that doesn't really it doesn't move the storyline any further for me because it's just like I said, they're just taking up time. We find out, guess what, baby, the party is tonight. This is when Tiffany gets killed. So that she goes to the cops and she's like, hey, I know somebody's gonna die tonight. And he's like, and the cop is like, okay, like, are you gonna be the person to kill her? She's like, no, 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 no. I just know that it's gonna happen tonight. There's gonna be a party at Tiffany's house, and there's gonna be a lot of underage drinking. We need to get security there. This was her being a teen because I
mm,
felt like, you stupid fool. All you had to do was, once the party started, call the police then. Like, what are we
mhm,
doing?
yeah.
That's what I thought she would do. But she went to the cops. The cops didn't believe her, of course. So it's like, and I guess I got to go to this party and save the day.
Well,
Like, I
actually,
wouldn't really be worried about Tiffany.
what she does is because there's no nothing, no security, no nothing at school, they only have rules. She actually goes and sees Amelia's mom, and she just pulls her out of class because you can do that. And she basically gives her a rundown. She's like, hey, I'm from the
Lauren. Her name
future.
is Lauren.
Lauren, hey, I'm from the future, and da da da, and your daughter, and da 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 da, and she just like buys it instantly. And it's because Back to the Future has come out, and
Well, she doesn't
so
buy it instantly. She also tells her that I've seen the book that your daughter Amelia uses, and it was called like Lauren's super cool secret book, something like that. And she's like, I've never told anybody about that book.
she also shows her cell phone like they did in Time Cut, but it wasn't corny. It just was like, oh, it's a fun. Like, I don't know. It just, there was a different feel to this movie than Time Cut, because I was trying to compare them. And I was trying to feel like why did I hate Time Cut and why do I like this movie? And it just felt different. I don't know. It was like there just wasn't a whole like trying to be funny aspect of
I
it.
think it was because everybody in this movie had a backstory. Like, we had a backstory about Tiffany, we had a backstory about Lauren. In the other movie, the lead girl she didn't even know her sister.
Mm,
She didn't know anybody. So I think that might have a lot to do with, like, I didn't care about anybody in that movie.
mm.
In here, I cared about these people, but I didn't care. I didn't. It was like, whatever,
Well,
whatever.
I did
So
care when they got to this big ass mansion that they turned into a damn burger shack.
oh well. At the next scene, we go back and we're back to the future at this point, and everybody thinks that Jamie has been kidnapped or something because Amelia let them know that the killer was chasing her, and then now she's nowhere to be found. They don't know where she is. She tells everybody, the sheriff, her dad Blake, and Chris Dubasage, that she created a time machine. Bam, we got our suspects. I knew it
Mhm.
right then and there. Like, you're giving all the information out. You don't know these people.
That pissed
I
me off.
knew
I
the
was like, well,
I knew the killer was one of these three people. Period.
mm,
Period.
interesting.
So I trust me. And we get to the party. In this part, they go to the door. So it's, I think her name is Kara. No, I'm sorry. It's Lauren, Jamie, and Doug. Doug is the guy that they met at the school. Doug is a
You
black
just
guy.
said the
We get
mom's
to
name was Lauren. I hate you.
I'm sorry.
Get on
The mom's
Wikipedia
name
and find
is
these people's
Lauren.
names.
The
You just
mom's name
said
is,
who? You just said Lauren was at the door.
because we're back in the past when the three of them try to get into the party.
But she's not, they're not at the door. I thought you were talking about the three
They
bullies
do
at the door.
no. Jamie, Doug, and Lauren go to the front door of Tiffany's house trying to get into her party to try to save her from, well, the girls know that they're trying to that they might be about to die, but not
And who
Doug.
is Doug?
So the black guy that they
I
meet in their
know
classroom.
you didn't explain that to the
Okay,
people.
so we see the other only black guy in the fucking movie
He was
that
cute.
opens the door and he said, only one black allowed. So he does not let Doug in.
Doug is also dressed in high waters, pissing me off.
I mean, it wasn't too much, but it just like he really said only one black allowed because there are no other black people in this party, especially no other black guys. But Doug helps the girls climb over the fence, and he's like, "Hey, let me in when you make sure you let me in when you get into the house." And Jamie gets into the party.
Unwanted touch,
And
unwanted touch. I love that part. Because he's
yeah,
like unwanted human.
this was another part that I was like, come on, girl. Come on, writers. Don't do this. A hot guy jumps out of the pool and Jamie's like, oh, wait, who was that? It's her dad. Like you would have. I know what my dad looked like when he was a teenager.
Yeah.
We're not doing this.
Yeah.
Just because I never met him as a teenager.
Especially because they had her in college. He didn't change. He did not.
No. They got a baby picture of them cradling her and the dad, the mom got her arm on the dad's shoulders. Don't do this. Don't do this. Like, okay, so that might have been the only other time. Like this is where points are deducted.
Right.
At this point. And Blake is dating Tiffany. And they are hot and heavy. And then okay, so they're in the kitchen and they're all chatting, and she's basically trying to what is she trying to do? She's trying to tell them in so many words, we got to keep Tiffany out of the basement because she knows, because obviously she's from the future and she's listening to Chris Dubasage podcast. She knows where the girls were found murdered. So the garage. So she wants to keep Tiffany out of the garage.
They're not buying it. They try to get her kicked out again.
No, they do kick her out. They do kick her out, and the guy burps in her fucking face. That was gross. But she's like, I'm not falling for this. Then the three of them come into the party. So we have Lauren, Amelia, and Jamie. They're back in the party again. So she's got to figure out how to do it. She's got to figure out how to get the killer. And like this was the point where I'm like, girl, why didn't you just call the police right now? But she doesn't.
No,
because there's still like an hour left in this movie, so we gotta kill some people.
So Tiffany and Blake break up. Like just randomly.
Well, no, it wasn't random. He found out that she made out with Eddie.
Eddie, who is see, we forgot about Eddie. So Eddie in the future.
But Eddie's not important.
Eddie's future is this huge rock star. I don't even know what you would compare him to. I don't know. I really don't know what a relevant pop star. I don't even know what you compare him to.
That they went to school with. So Jamie's parents went to school with him, and she's a big fan of his.
That's the concert she was going to on Halloween night. And so that's what happened. He found out she made out with Eddie. And so she's like, oh, you made out with Eddie, the rock star? And she's like, oh, he's going to be a rock star? So Tiffany goes upstairs to her parents' room with Eddie to make out with Eddie. And to have sex with Eddie. And because they have a waterbed. I hate this whole sex in my parents' bed trope. It's gross. But they're in there making out.
I don't want to sleep in nobody's bed.
They're in there making out and they're about to have sex. And he's like, hey, he brings up BJ. And so the thing about Tiffany is she hates blowjobs. That is her thing. She hates blowjobs. So she's like, I don't get blowjobs. And she goes into the bathroom to freshen up or pee or whatever. And he's just like, fuck this. I thought that was very odd. The fact that he just left.
Right. I've never seen a guy.
Because I
might have seen them turn down the opposite, where the girl's like, I don't want to have sex. I just want to do a blowjob. He might be like, no, I want to have sex. The ultimate get is the sex, right?
Yeah, he's like, no, Eddie. Not for him. Not for
Eddie.
Eddie got better things to do, looking like the Night Stalker. So the whole time we get, God, her just blanked on her name. We get Jamie running around the house like, where's Tiffany? Where's Tiffany? She goes to the garage, but it's another couple down there having sex. And she's like, oh, I changed it because she interfered and did all that. I guess they were supposed to go hook up in the garage. I don't know how she got to the garage. But yeah. So she comes out the bathroom and here we go with this shit.
Halloween,
he's not there. Yeah, he's not there, but somebody's in the closet and she's just like, I'm not chasing guys. Come out here. And then he comes out in a mask and she's just like, take that off. Like, why would Eddie just randomly put a mask on? Like, what's happening right now?
I'm telling you, if I am in a bedroom with a guy and I'm like, okay, I'm going to go freshen up. I come out and he's wearing a sheet, a mask, anything that has changed besides him being naked, I'm leaving.
It's the only way. Because what are we doing right now? Like, stop playing with me. But he doesn't stop playing with her. He starts stabbing her ass. And stab. He stabs the waterbed because he's an asshole, but he does have to stab her 16 times because that is the lore. And of course, while Jamie's running, she finally gets upstairs and the door's locked, but she breaks it down. And unfortunately, Tiffany's already dead. And Pam busts in right after her. So she's just like, oh my God. Again, I love how they are reacting really to their friend being murdered. Like this whole just stone face. Like, no, she screamed like she's supposed to. The police arrive.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, they immediately suspect Jamie because they're like, hey, what the hell? You said a murder was gonna happen. A murder happened. Pam's like, no, she was trying to help her. She's trying to help her. And then he's like, all right, stay here. Nobody move. Everybody leaves. I thought that was hilarious.
That was pretty funny. That was
Yeah,
pretty funny.
I mean, what are you talking about? But they, Pam's walking home. She's like, I don't live far from here. Like, hey, you shouldn't walk alone. So they're just getting to know each other. And she's like, I didn't even really like Tiffany that much. It's like she was mean. And I'm like, you're all mean.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they don't want to tell Pam that, that that's her daughter, which they never do in the film. And I really like that. They kept that a secret. So Jamie basically just says, I'm psychic. I have this crystal and it tells me visions and I can see as far as up to 2023. And we get to know a little bit about Pam. She's basically like a science fiction nerd, and Amelia and her become like kind of friends. It was a very interesting dynamic. I still don't understand how Amelia Future got the way it is because
Lauren.
I mean, yeah, Lauren. Amelia's mom, Lauren. Okay. So
Jamie fucks up again, being a big blabbermouth. She accidentally tells Pam that she and Blake date in college. And Pam is like, well, me and Blake? Oh, that sounds good to me. And Tiffany dead, so why the fuck? And she wasn't my friend. Why the fuck not? Let's do it now. And Jamie's like, no, not right now. Wait till college. But she already set everything in motion. So hot and heavy Pam is ready to get him. So Jamie, shut the fuck up.
Like, yeah, I'm like, what? There was no reason to even say that.
No, none. But now we're back in the future and we see Amelia, who's still working on her time machine, and Chris Dubasage shows up. And I'm like, okay, bitch, we know. He shows up and he's asking the question. I wrote in my notes, he's totally the killer. And he tells her that things are starting to change because he's remembering things differently. He said, I know Tiffany was murdered in the garage, but then look right here, at my notes here, now I say that she was married in her parents' room. And they also mentioned something about Eddie's rock group. And Amelia's like, you mean this Eddie, who is like a
emo
folk singer who created an album called A Waterbed Away because that's how close he was to death.
Yeah.
When he was nowhere, if he was a waterbed away, everybody else was a waterbed away because he wasn't even anywhere to be found when Tiffany was murdered. So
right. And there's also he has pictures of the crime scene. So Amelia sees a picture of Jamie at the party that that Blake had snapped of. No, not Blake. That Chris had snapped of them. And
in the past,
in the past, and she's like, oh my gosh, she's there. And then there's evidence, like he has all the evidence photos because of course he does the podcast, and on one of the evidence photos there is a note on the waterbed that says stab the machine J. And the police had initially thought, they had questioned Eddie because they thought it was some sort of satanic symbol, the letter J, and in actuality it was Jamie trying to let Amelia know, stab the machine. And she's like, she's trying to tell me that I need another metal conductor. Like, she caught it very quickly and she just goes back to doing her little thing, and Chris leaves. So we're back in the past and we're still trying to stop these murders. And she's like, hey, well, I know Marissa's gonna die, and she's gonna die at her cabin. So we absolutely cannot go to the cabin. I was so pissed. And so she tries to like persuade them to like, hey, we should have your party at your parents' condo, blah, blah, blah. And they meet
in the city. The city.
And we meet, I forgot his name, Vernon. It would start with a V.
Who?
The red herring in the.
They called him Lurch. We can
Lurch.
Call him Lurch.
Yeah. So Lurch is just this weird guy, and basically his sister is this girl, Fat Linda, Fat Lisa, Fat Rhonda.
Hold on. I got it. Hold on. Hold on. I'm about to just call her Fat Tina. I don't know.
It was either Fat Tina, Fat Lisa, Fat Linda. That's my.
Okay. One of the two. Big girl.
So yeah. And so basically, she was his sister and she had died. And so he has
Fat Trish.
Not Fat Trish. So Fat Trish. And that's his sister who died. She died in a car wreck. And ever since then, he just had this like bad temper. So he's just been he gets in a lot of fights. But it's very interesting they say that because he didn't look like he was whooping ass, but apparently he can whip a little ass.
Whooping ass and taking names.
And so yeah, we meet him. But now it's time to go on the birthday trip. And it was very interesting that they invited her though. I thought it would be harder for them to hang out with her, considering that
because Pam told them
she'd be having the same damn jacket on every day.
But Pam, but they listen to Pam. Pam's like the leader of the group. They're gonna do whatever she says.
So they're on their way.
Pam on her side,
and they're just saying a bunch of mean, evil shit. And she's just like, stop saying these things, guys. And she takes a nap. She hasn't been sleeping, apparently, which I'm wondering where she slept. We never see where she was being housed.
She stayed at Lawrence. She said that.
Okay, we can.
Okay. And then she wakes up. Guess where they're at, baby? They're at the cabin in the woods.
And she's like, wait, I thought you said condo. And she's like, I couldn't tell if she really thought the cabin was a condo or if they just decided to ditch the plan because she went to sleep. I couldn't tell because they really seemed
I think
dumb.
they decided to ditch the plan.
Yeah, they seemed dumb. And then, I don't know, but I was like, why would Pam let them? I don't know. And then a truck is coming. She's like, it's a killer. No, it's Blake and the other idiot who bought weed brownies.
Blake, the lesbian, and Doug. Not Doug. Randy. Randy is the other guy. And they brought black allowed. That's Randy.
Vodka and weed brownies. So they go to the hot tub and they're just all naked in the hot tub. They've eaten the weed brownies and they're just high. And Jamie's pissed. And she's like, hey guys, we need to go inside. So she convinces them all to go inside, except I don't think Kara goes inside. I think she just stays outside. But I don't recall why. I think she's just high.
Ends up inside. She does end up inside.
I feel like that doesn't make sense. But anywho,
yeah, I'm not sure, but she tells them there's pizza inside, so everybody goes and runs in the house.
And then they lock her, and then Randy locks her out, and so she spends the whole night trying to get into the house. So everyone like splits apart. So Pam and Blake go off and hook up. Yeah, and then Marissa is by herself mixing cocktails terribly, and Heather just goes to sleep. And then Randy, I don't know what he's doing. And I don't know what Kara's doing this. So I was like, when did she? It seems like she just stayed outside because I don't recall her being in the house.
I'll tell you when she's in the house, but she's in there. But Jamie's stuck outside and she sees that the killer's in the house. So she's trying to find a way to get in. But her being, very basically once they got into the house in the beginning, she locked all the windows and made sure all the doors were locked because she wanted to secure them. So unfortunately now she can't get back in. So she's knocking on every door. She sees there's a window open up top. She climbs on the rooftop, click click click, and Kara's in there and she's like, I need to get in the room. And then Kara's talking back to her but doesn't open the door for her. I'm like, what the fuck are we doing here? Like, the girl said she was locked outside. So I don't know how Kara got in there, but she was in the house at that point.
And so
but anywho,
the killer's in the closet where Heather is sleeping. I don't know, because Randy does try to wake her up, but she doesn't wake up. And I was like, damn, is she that knocked out? But then when the killer is over her, she wakes up.
You know what? She probably was fake sleeping because she didn't want to sleep with Randy ass. Been there, done that.
So of course Jamie sees all this, so she goes to another window where Pam and Blake are, and she's like, let me in, the killer's in the house. They done barricaded the damn door because Pam finally remembered that the killer's supposed to be there. So they open the door and immediately they see the killer and he tries to come after them. They try to fight him off. He beat the dog shit out of Heather. He fling her all the way down the stairs. He starts stabbing her.
He flipped her over a banister that led to the stairs to, I guess, the house, and she falls on her back on those stairs. She wasn't coming back from that. Like, you can't recover. So her not fighting back, I totally understood.
But they do try.
You just can't.
Blake tries to beat up the killer. The killer stabs him in the shoulder and knocks him down. Here comes Jamie. Jamie been trying to whip his ass all day. Here come Pam. He beat Pam head again. I was like, damn, you are angry. So
Pam is knocked the fuck out.
There's ass whipping. But then Blake gets back up. He grabs a fire poker. He's like, get out. Killer runs off. But by that time, Marissa got stabbed 16 times. It's over with. I mean, I'm sorry, not Marissa. Heather. Yeah. See, Marissa was supposed to die that night, but Heather ends up dying. See, so Jamie changed it again. So now back in the future, things are changing. And it's just like, girl.
Everybody.
So
everybody's starting to suspect each other. All of the kids are starting to suspect each other at this
Well,
point.
actually, Blake suspects Kara because she was the one who wasn't there. But of course her dad's the sheriff, and she's like, "Daddy, I didn't do it." She runs
But
off.
neither was Randy.
Yeah, I don't know where Randy was, but they don't question him though.
I think he got knocked out. I
They
think
only
he got knocked
question
out.
Kara, and she runs off, and her dad's just like, "Calm down, baby." So I think that's where the fracture between her and Blake are, and that's why she doesn't like him in the future. But um, so now look. Everybody Jamie basically comes clean and Pam comes clean. And she's like, look, she's psychic. She knew you were going to die. And she's like, I was going to die. And so they come up with a plan and they're like, okay, we got to get this motherfucker. Also, so in order for the time machine to work, it needs Wi-Fi. So damn it. Lauren and Jamie figure out that, they're in the past. Obviously, it's 1987. There is no Wi-Fi for her cell phone to work. And also her battery is steadily dying. So what they need is when they figured her phone gets service when the news van is broadcasting. So they're like,
a large amount of power.
Yeah. So they need a large amount of power and they need a Wi-Fi signal. So they're like, oh, well, we can do this at the carnival. So basically they need to get to the carnival because they need the Wi-Fi signal and it's kind of just a chance to catch killer. But like I said, Lauren's mom is like, look, see this. So Amelia's mom, Lauren, is like, girl, you can either go home or you can stop the killer. You can't do both because if your phone dies and we don't have this Wi-Fi signal, you're not going home. So they come up with a plan to catch the killer, and they're basically going to use Marissa as bait, and she's just going to walk through the haunted house like she usually does to go give someone a blowjob.
That was crazy. We did get the red herring of Lurch out of the way as well because we do want to talk about that since we did mention him. Jamie suspects him. She goes and tries to hide in his van, and he comes up, and there's nothing in his van. She thinks dead body, so he comes out and she kicks him, and then we realize he a punk because he did not hit her back. He was like, "Take whatever you want, just not my video games." And she's like, "Oh, he didn't fucking do it." Because she's like, I don't even need to suspect him anymore. And then Doug comes up and they like talk about video games, and then that scene just cuts. I was just like, oh, that was weird. But I did want to mention that she realizes that Lurch is not the killer, and his name actually was Damon.
Oh, lovely. So they all have weapons. They give Marissa the rape whistle button, whatever.
Why didn't
alarm.
they give Marissa a weapon?
I don't know. So
she could have put a stick in the back of her pants or something.
Baby, no, they just let her walk. And so, of course, the newscaster's there. Why he's doing a story of the fair was weird. But the young Chris, is there watching his dad. He's all happy.
No, I'm pretty sure when a fair comes to town, they talk about the fairs in town.
On the news?
There's no social media. It's either in the newspaper or the news. I'm sure they do.
That's what could you have to say news other than the fairs here?
Get down here. We got these are the rides they have available.
He was there for a very long time, and his son's just watching him in admiration. So, so back in the future, he realizes that he saw the killer walk past him in the past. Like he's just remembering things.
Yeah, it's like Chris is having a Mandela effect because Jamie's in there fucking the thing up, changing everything.
So Marissa's walking through this creepy ass haunted house. I would not be. This shit looks
that scary was as hell. So scary,
and nobody else was in there.
Oh,
but her gang is like hiding behind places with weapons. Like we see Randy, he's like in the fake movie theater, like he in the House of Wax. And Jamie and Pam are behind the bathroom stall things. So like they're all just hidden in places. And Marissa just walking through like, hey, follow me. I'm going to give you a blowjob. Like, I'm just.
Well, no. She's like, Randy, where are you? I'm here for the blowjob. Gross. Ew. Those suck. Yeah. Well, the killer comes out.
Well, the killer's been following her. And what happens is dumbass Jamie drops the fucking wrench, and so he hears it and he busts in about to kill her ass. She ends up getting the knife from him though, and like he starts chasing them all. It's crazy how he be whipping there. It's so many of them, but
they tried to fight back. They tried.
He be whipping their ass with no weapon. I'm like, damn.
I'm trying to figure out how Blake was fighting if he got stabbed in the shoulder.
And Blake be getting his ass whipped the most. It was just a lot. So they struggle. Eventually they get the upper hand on the killer. and they end up stabbing him in the back. But again,
Jamie
he's
does.
superhuman, and
Yeah.
it's like it doesn't really bother him. So yeah. Oh crap! Forgot to remember when she was at the house and she hit him with the book, and then she brought his DNA, and he's like, "What the fuck is DNA?" So they pull the mask off, and who
No, Kara still dies, doesn't she? Oh no, you're right. You're right. You're right. You're right.
they stab him in the back, but the killer is superhuman. And so Kara, she was at the carnival, and she's just like, y'all think that I'm the killer, but this girl showed up and the killing started. She had a scythe, she was dressed as Death. So she stabs the killer through the chest with the scythe, and they're like, that was real. She's like, yeah, my dad's a cop. So yeah. So Jamie takes off the mask, and the killer was actually Doug. And they're like, what did we do to Doug? So then they're like, oh crap. They look at, he has a locket around his neck. They open up the locket, and the locket, it's fat
Trish.
Trish. And they're like, wait.
Like, so that just tells you right there, I know how to solve a case, but if you don't give me anything, I can't solve it. I would have never known it was Doug because nobody ever mentioned them two together.
Yeah. So, but that's when Pam was like, yeah, they were caught making out. And so basically the story that happened was
Okay, tell me what you got.
the story that happened was they're telling, they're like, so how was it Doug? How was it Doug? And Pam's like, oh my God, the party. So basically they were trying to get the tea out of Fat Trish, and they invited her over. They got her real drunk, and she ended up spilling the beans, but she was all like sad about it. And she like threw a fit, and she locked herself in the bathroom. They're like, hey, come out, come out. But she ended up driving herself home, dying in a car wreck. So
you only
and
got
he
the
did,
last part right.
And she did
there
call.
Was a rumor. There was a rumor going around that Fat Trish slept with the coach at the school. So they were trying to get her to admit that.
I said the T. I don't know what you're trying to make it seem like I got wrong. You're the one who's been skipping through this movie. So yeah. So basically, she did call her boyfriend before, which I was like, why did she call him and then try to drive home? That's the only thing I didn't understand. Because like she called him, so that's why he knew what happened. And then she tried to drive home, and she drove home drunk, and that's when she got in the car accident. And so Jamie is like pissed. She's like, how could you do that? You're an evil person. You're an awful person. And she just went in on her mom, in on her mom, in on her mom. And she's just like, that is so evil. You killed her. You killed her. You killed her. And that's when Marissa was like, your mom wasn't there. And she's like, I would never do something like that. Yeah, me and Tiffany got in a fight over the summer. So yeah, I wasn't there. I didn't know anything about this shit. And Marissa gets her throat slashed because the killer is back. And they're like, oh my God, what the So yeah, it is then time to go home. So Pam's like, I didn't stop the killer, but look, Lauren is like, we got to get you the fuck up out of here. But they need a power source because the photo booth is fried. So they decide to use the quantum leap ride as their way because it can defy gravity and it goes really fast and it pushes and all this kind of stuff. So they go in the quantum leap, and she's telling her, hey, you got to get back. You got to stay in this place. Don't move out of it or you're going to be pink dust. And here come the killer. I thought the killer was going to kill Lauren, and I'm so glad he did not. Because it just, I don't think she could have survived this kind of situation. So the new killer ends up being Chris. How he got in the time machine is not explained.
So we flip back before Lauren runs in to go grab Jamie and say, we got to go home. We flip to the future, and we see that Amelia has been knocked out, and because she fixed the time machine. She lets Chris know that she fixed the time machine earlier, and then she's been knocked out because she realizes she needs the other metal to conduct it. And that's when Lauren, back in the past, Lauren grabs her and they run to the quantum. And then we see the killer running behind them, and we see Doug Dubasage still reporting, and he gets stabbed in the head by the killer. Mm-hmm. And we're like, what's going on? They're really changing the future at this point. And then they make it over to the quantum machine. Lauren and Jamie are in there. The killer comes in, and it's time to fight for your right to part.
All right. So yeah, Lauren does escape because she's like, girl, I need my best friend. But Pam jumps in, and I'm like, Pam,
part was
why?
ridiculous.
I
That
was
was
like,
ridiculous.
she's like, I had to help, and I'm just like, but you didn't. And so
You did. You really, really
they
didn't.
they tussle with the killer. The machine is starting, and it is
I hate
revealed.
that ride. I hate that fucking ride. Like when I was a
Do they still
kid,
have them?
everybody wanted. Yeah, I can't remember what they always have a Megatron 3000. They always have different names, but when I was a kid, it just used to always give me a headache. So, which is so crazy. I would take a Tylenol before I got in it because all my friends wanted to get on it. But if I didn't take that, I would just feel so sick, and then I would have to ride it with my eyes closed. It just made me so nauseous. I hate that fucking ride. Never again.
So the new killer, is revealed to be Chris. And
No, no. See, because not Jamie. I'm sorry. Pam does not see that the killer is Chris. Does she? Does Pam see that, Tim? I'm not sure. I can't remember.
no, because okay, so
Okay,
yeah.
yeah.
So as they're in the quantum thing, the killer just magically stands up and he's walking he's gonna kill Pam, but he's walking
Mm-hmm.
towards her. And that's when uh not I was about to call her
They're,
Paige. Jamie hits the
they're walking
door.
in slow motion.
Yeah. He does stab her though. He does stab her in the side, and
Does
then
that
Jamie
Pam?
opens up the door and she slides out and she's like, "You killed my mom again." And that's when
The mask comes off somehow.
yeah.
I guess the wind. I don't know, baby.
Yeah, because the door opened. And that's when she's
Oh.
like, "It's Chris." And she's like, "What the fuck? Like what?" She's like, "Oh, that note. My mom never got that note. You gave her. You made that up." And he's like, "Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
basically what happened. What he did was so Doug is the killer, which is weird that he was the principal and again, it was very hard to suspect Doug. So that was a good red herring situation.
Mm-hmm.
But so yeah, Doug had his motive, but the reason Chris went back and the reason Chris killed her mom is because he's been doing the podcast and it's like it's hard to maintain interest after 35 years. So your mom had to die in order for the killer's back now. Now people are going to be more interested.
Mm-hmm.
And, and he just went into the past because things were changing. And that I couldn't understand him going back to the past. But basically he's like now he has access to the time machine so the killer can exist past, present, future. He
But
never
again,
dies.
Chris is thinking small. You need to be thinking big. Like they that is the one thing that I just like. There's so many other things you should be doing for your future instead of
Mm-hmm.
making your podcast better. Like we got a podcast, but if I go back in time, I'm not giving a shit about this.
Like
There's
it
more
just
things
was
I need to be doing.
I just feel like he could have covered the stories his dad was covering. I don't know. It just seemed like yeah, because it says he killed
Or
his
just
dad.
changed his future.
Yeah, he said he killed his dad so he doesn't have to live in his shadow. But his
Like
dad didn't.
he literally could have went back and told his younger self, Google, iPhone, whatever else, and be like, remember these and look into them.
No,
Remember them and
he
call
just
it a
wants
day.
more viewers, and
Right.
that's the
Crazy.
stupidest second motive. But it did. I,
Insane.
I liked it because it's just like I like the idea of copycatting a serial killer that already exists. It
Well,
just
he said he wanted to get a Pulitzer.
like his dad was about. It just
Yeah.
yeah.
I
Okay.
mean, Pulitzers are cool, but like
I just feel like again,
Oscar, Pulitzer,
like you
Grammy,
said,
Pulitzer.
I just feel there were better ways to like help yourself in the past than becoming a serial killer and helping the serial killer and then killing
Right.
your
Yeah. Like
dad. It just
I get that we haven't even finished the movie. We were over here recapping it. I mean, I get that it's a movie, but like I want to see that movie where they're like so hell bent on doing something, but they're in the past. They're like, wait, fuck all this.
yeah.
I want to do this instead and just change the whole trajectory of the movie. But anywho, they're fighting.
It's a
Jamie
big
is
tussle,
yeah.
and Jamie's like, "Fuck you, dude!" Kicks him. So they can't leave the circle. She kicks him. He leaves the circle.
She
Bam, pink
shoots him
dust.
with the nail gun too.
Yeah,
And I
the
don't
nail
think those
gun.
work like that.
I don't know because they work like that in Final Destination. They work like
I
that in
don't
so many
think
other.
nail guns work like that,
They
but we're
work
gonna
like
let it go.
yeah. So she
Hollywood.
shoots him with the nail
Hollywood.
gun, and he flies back, and he's pink dust. He is no more.
He disintegrates.
Yeah.
That's why I
Which
was like, did Pam see him or not? Because if Pam did, she would have been like, this was the killer. But so it was good that she didn't see him.
yeah. And she heads back to the future, and she runs home instantly, and she's like, "Mom, Dad, up," and they exist, and her mom's alive, her dad's alive, they're happy, and then there are some great things that come out of this. So Amelia and Lauren show up, and she's like, "I got a to you? And they go outside and she's like, girl, I wrote down in this notebook all the changes that happened. And so this guy walks up and she's like, who the hell's that? And she's like, that's Jamie. Your name is what is it? Colette. And she's like, oh yeah, well, you didn't, your parents got together right after you left. They had you have a 34-year-old brother. So yeah, your name changed. And then she wrote in the notebook all the other things that changed. And her mom comes out and she's like, hey, can you help your brother set the table? Also, your grandma called. So her mom had a strained relationship with her mom, but apparently that's repaired. And she's coming over tonight. There's like a whole gang, like they're all friends now. But I didn't see Lurch. So it's just like, but yeah.
No, they showed him. So I have the recap. So at the end, they give us like the hangover, them looking at the pictures of what happened during the weekend. Mm-hmm. So Lauren and Pam become best friends. Her new brother has a husband and a 3-year-old daughter. Randy is now the school principal because remember before it was Doug, but Doug did. Yeah. Kara became the chief of police, whose weed brownies have become well renowned. Mm-hmm. And Damon is Damon started a video game company and has an anti-bullying association in honor of his sister Trish. Mm-hmm. And Chris Dubuisson, who was traumatized by seeing his father killed by his alternate self, obviously he didn't know who killed his father, has traveled to a monastery in India as a monk. But Lauren is like, I'm gonna keep tabs on him. I'm not too sure about that one.
Yeah.
And that's basically how the movie ends. They wrap it up real quick at the end, and I ain't mad at it.
No, it was cute. It was really cute. But I guess I didn't understand. Again, my only ick is I don't understand how you didn't have the career you wanted. You were a smart girl. Like, what was it that made her now she's a bioengineer? I didn't get that part. I'm like, well, why were you? Because they didn't touch on what would have happened to make her where she's miserable, and I just didn't understand. We didn't get that.
I don't know. I guess they said she's not our main character. We don't have to worry about her. She's in the movie, but she ain't number one.
Right.
But yeah, so that was 2023's Totally Killer, which is crazy to think that Time Cut was filmed before this. Like I said, somebody on the production set of Time Cut said this movie sucks, and then they got fired, and they went over and said, okay, well, I'm taking it back to 87, where shit really matters. Because ain't nobody think about 2003.
Yeah, I don't. And there were funny parts, but it wasn't. I don't know. I can't put my finger on why it was better. I just feel like it wasn't trying to be on the nose. It let the jokes be the jokes. Like,
again, we cared about the characters. I think they did a disservice of her not knowing anybody in the past. I can't remember what her character's name was.
It was Lucy and Summer. Lucy and Summer.
Yeah, like we didn't give a shit about either one of them. Only person I cared about was Dolores.
Well, I think it was also they weren't forcing their biracial ass agenda. But in 1987, they were pushing that damn interracial relationship shit because I was like, now, what do all these black people do? Like, what is this dark-skinned black girl doing with this white man at this fair? That's not happening in 1987. Get out of my face.
You'd be surprised.
Did you look around the fair? It was up nothing but interracial relationships. I was like, there's no. Not when George H. Bush was in. No.
No, because I think Reagan was the. Was it Reagan? It might have been Bush because Clinton came in 92, 87. No, I think it was still Reagan. Bush was next. Bush Senior. But yeah, so I give this one. I enjoyed it. I had seen it before, but it wasn't a pain to watch it again for this review. So I'm gonna give it a 7.
It actually helped me stay up on the plane. I'll give it a 7.5. I like that they had black representation, and yeah,
they were the smartest one in the whole movie.
Exactly, including Doug, who was whipping ass and taking names, like
because he went to Krav Maga or whatever.
And they did really
karate.
Yeah, he did karate, and when he says it, you just think like, but then also I do want to touch on. I'm sorry, yeah, I gave it a 7.5. I do want to touch on how he killed them girls, but you ain't kicked the dude who like wouldn't let you in. Like, it reminded me of Time Cut because I'm like, y'all don't be killing the main bully. Like, why didn't you kill the other black guy? Like, that's why I'm just like,
Because he wasn't really a bully to him. Just the other three that knew what happened to Trish.
mm,
Because I think it was just the three of them there. I don't think any of the guys were there. That's why none of the guys died.
okay.
Yeah, that's what.
It
That's
just
yeah.
it's freaky in a way just because he was the principal and he was just like normal. I don't know. It just really creeped me out.
Look, he did what he needed to do, and he moved on with his life.
Hello, like we don't got time for all this. Like, why am I still chasing Sidney Prescott? So yeah.
Right? Why are they still chasing Sidney Prescott? Thinking small, but you need to be thinking big. All right, so guys, that'll do it for 2023's Totally Killer. Please be sure to catch up with us next week when we review The Lost Boys with our special guest Jay. I know you guys have missed him.
And he's been
I
going
have
through a
missed him.
lot.
I don't know. I'm just gonna let you know. I'm just gonna let you know, Pierre, to be prepared because I think he's bringing the heat.
And I hope he does bring his heat. I hope he brings his vagina. I hope he brings his whole. I hope Jay brings everything he has. So yeah, straight out of rehab. We're gonna welcome Jay with open arms and we're gonna give him a second chance because everybody deserves to be rehabilitated, guys. So be nice to Jay when he comes back and make sure your comments are very kind to him and his whole.
Jesus Christ. Goodbye.
Where did you hide it, Dan?